Hey guys, it's Sylvain. In this video, I'm gonna answer to the 10 questions that I received the most about buying a property here in Thailand. I bought more than 15 apartments here. I have about 12% net profitability, and I have occupancy rate 100%. So every month I receive a lot of questions about how I did. So that's why I'm making this video. I bought my first apartment here in 2017 and the second one 2 years later, and my investments were more and more profitable. So I had always 100% occupancy rate, and I had about double profitability compared to my friends who invest there. So I bought more and more apartments, and now I have a bit more than 15 apartments. My work is not to sell online course, but because I have a lot of knowledge about the property market of Thailand, I also decided to create an online course in which I share all my tips, all my knowledges that I learned in 7 years of investing here and buying more than 15 apartments. But if you are a beginner, this video will already help you to start. So let's go for the question. Question number 1, can we really own an apartment in Thailand? So for the condominium, the answer is yes. We can own a condominium here on the same way as we own it in Europe or in the USA. So we will own it forever, and if we die, we're gonna pass it to our children. For a house, we can own a house, but we cannot own the land where the house is built. So you can rent the land for 30 years. We call that leasehold. We're gonna talk to it in the next point. So some people think they buy the land for 30 years. For me, I would say we just rent the land for 30 years and we pay all the rental fees at the beginning of the rental. So in this video, I'm not gonna enter deeply into each question because it would take hours. This is not the goal of this video. If you need to have very deep explanation, it's gonna be in the online course. I'm just gonna answer quickly to many questions. Question number 2, what is the leasehold and the freehold? The leasehold is when we rent a land for 30 years. So we don't really own the land. And the freehold is when we own, so a condominium or a house, and we own it forever and we're gonna pass it to our children. Most of the condominium, we buy them in freehold, so we own it forever. But there is sometimes some condominium kind of scam that we buy on leasehold for 30 years or 99 years, for example. So we need to be careful about that. Question number 3, what do I need to buy a condominium here? So you don't need anything. Your visa is not related to your condominium, and your condominium is not related to your visa. It's really two separate things. It's better if you have a bank account to buy the condominium, but if you don't have it, it's still possible to buy, and also the agency is gonna help you to open a bank account. Question number 4, is there a notary in Thailand? There is no notary in Thailand. When we buy a condominium, a house or a land, we go to the land office. It's the office where we're gonna do the transaction. So you're gonna pay the condominium, you're gonna pay the taxes, and they're gonna put the condominium on your name. This takes about 1 hour. Question number 5, how long does it take to buy a condominium or a land or a house? So it's very quick in Thailand. The quickest that I did was about 3 or 4 days, and the longest was about maybe 3 weeks. But in average, most of my apartments, I bought them in about 5 or 6 days. Question number 6, am I allowed to rent out my condominium in Thailand, and how much profitability can I expect? So yes, of course, you can rent out your apartment. For the profitability, most of the time we get between 2.5% net profitability for the bad deal, and the maximum that we can expect. But for example, me, I have about 12% profitability. So of course, I talk about the profitability without doing Airbnb, without doing daily rental. So you're gonna tell me between 2.5% and 12%, it's a huge difference. So I'm gonna tell you 6 examples on the way to buy your apartment and which profitability you can expect for each way. So of course, I talk about the profitability net. So for example, we take all the income that you get in 10 years, all the rental incomes, and then we deduct the condominium fees, the fees to maintain the apartment, to take care of it, etc. So it's the net profitability in each example. First example, how to get 2.5% profitability. Imagine you buy an apartment off plan, a luxurious apartment, so very expensive, and the building is still on construction. the construction is late, maybe 1 year late, 2 years late, it happens often. And when your apartment is ready, it's very hard for you to find tenants for 2 reasons. First reason, there are so many apartments which are available right now in the market, and they are all the same for the same price. And second reason, the rent price that you are asking for is too expensive for the market. The market doesn't want to pay this rental price. So you need to decrease your price, and or you will not have a lot of occupancy rate. Maybe you will have a tenant only 6 months per year or 8 months per year, so the profitability gonna decrease a lot. And also we add the condominium fees, which are very expensive in the luxurious building. So unfortunately, when you calculate all your incomes on all your spendings, your profitability gonna reach 2.5%. So this doesn't happen often. Second example, how to get 3 or 3.5% profitability. So imagine you go to an agency or a shopping mall and you talk to an apartment seller and you buy whatever apartment which seems to be nice. So it's a new apartment, it's still under construction, but it's well located. Most of the time you're gonna get about 3 or 3.5% net profitability. So probably the seller is saying that the profitability is 6%. This is because the constructor declares that the rent is this. So for example, the rent is 20,000 baht. So this is true that when your apartment is rented for 20,000 baht, the profitability yearly gonna be 6%. But the problem is sometimes, most of the time, the market doesn't accept to pay 20,000 baht rent. So you're gonna have tenants maybe only 6 months per year or 8 months per year. So the profitability gonna go down a lot. Also, most of the time when they calculate the profitability, they don't take in consideration the condominium fees, which can be expensive. So that's why even if the seller is telling you the profitability is 6%, it's really possible that you get so much lower. Third example. So if you go to an agency today, you don't know much the market, but you check all the apartments they have for sale and you buy the best apartment that you find. You buy it today. On second-hand apartment, it's not a new apartment. Probably you're gonna have about 4% net profitability. Example number 4, if you go to visit the agencies, you learn the market for 1 month and you buy the best apartments that you find in one month. So a second-hand apartment also. You can expect to have 5 or 6% net profitability. Example number 5, if you learn the market like a professional. So what we see in the online course, you know all the building, you know all the agencies, etc. And you buy a second-hand apartment, you can expect to reach about 7% profitability. And last example, if you do the same as the previous example, so you learn the market like a professional, you know all the building, all the agencies, etc. And you buy an apartment to renovate. Then that's what I'm doing. You can expect the same profitability as me, which is about 12%. I show you on the screen the difference in profit after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, depending on the profitability. I take into account compound interest. So that means reinvesting the rental income by investment or by buying other apartments similar to this one. If you go to meet agencies and you ask them what is the profitability of this apartment, this apartment, this apartment, most of the time it's gonna be more or less the same, probably 6%. So what they mean is when the apartment is rented, you have 6% profitability, but the difference gonna be the occupancy rate. There are some apartments when you put a rent for this price, so 6% profitability, you're gonna have so many people who will want this apartment. And you will have other apartments, when you ask for 6% profitability, you will have a very hard time to find a tenant. Of course, you want to have the first case. Question number 7, how much are the taxes when we buy an apartment in Thailand? It's supposed to be about 3%, but most of the time it's about 1.5 or 2% because actually in Thailand, almost all the transactions are underreported. Question number 8, how much costs an apartment in Thailand? So there are for all budgets. If you don't buy in Bangkok, you buy in other cities such as Chiang Mai, Pattaya, Hua Hin, etc. I recommend you to spend for the first investment maybe between 800,000 baht and maximum 2 million baht for an apartment without renovation. The first apartment that I bought, it was a bit less than 1 million baht. It was here in Chiang Mai, and I didn't have to do any renovation. Now, most of the apartments that I buy here in Chiang Mai, I pay about 720,000 baht, and then I have to renovate the apartment. Question number 9, how to find an apartment to buy. So there are 4 main channels to find apartments. Of course, the most famous are the agencies on internet, such as Facebook Marketplace or the website. So you can find some apartment with these 2 channels, but the problem is it's gonna be public sales. So everybody is aware that there is this apartment for sale for this price. So most of the time you cannot find a good deal with these 2 channels. There are also some channels that you can find apartments that nobody is aware that there is an apartment for sale, and that's how you can do good deal. Now 80% of the apartments that I buy them with the 2 other channels, so this is not public sales. And last question, what kind of apartment should I buy? So I cannot answer you very specifically because it depends on your profile, but what I can tell you is you need to know exactly what you want to buy. How can you find what you want if you don't know what you want? If you don't know what you want, the agencies will not consider you as a serious buyer, and after make you visit 2, 3, 5 apartments, they will stop to make you visit apartments because they will think you are not ready to buy and you need more time, and they don't want to spend this time with you. So you need to know exactly the criteria of the apartments that you are targeting. You need to know, okay, I want an apartment with X, Y, Z. And then when you will find this apartment, you will be ready to buy it because you will take your decision with a strategy and not with your emotions. In the course, we talk about each criteria and I give you my opinion about each of it according to your profile. In this video, we're just gonna talk about a few criteria to give you example, then you can start to think about it. So first criteria, of course, the location. Do you want an apartment in the heart of the city, but it's more expensive and the profitability may be a bit lower? Or do you want an apartment outside of the city, which is gonna be cheaper, sometimes very cheap, but it's a higher risk. Sometimes it's hard to find a tenant. Second criteria, the size of the apartment. Do you want a studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom? So it's not a secret. Of course, if you want profitability, you want to buy something smaller. Third criteria, the price per square meter. Do you want to buy 25 square meter for 1 million baht, so it's gonna be in an old building, or do you want to buy for 2.5 million baht, and it's gonna be in a new building with swimming pool, gym room, security, etc., etc. So this criteria is mainly if you want to buy in an old building and in a new building. This is a very important thing. So in the course, we have one full video about that, and it depends on your profile, but if you want more profitability, it's better to buy in an old building. And we have many other criteria, such as do you want a swimming pool, do you want a gym room, do you want security, 24 hours, the condo fees, etc., etc. You want to have a list with all your criteria and to know what you want for each criteria. Then when you will see an apartment which match your criteria, you know this is the apartment that you want and you can grab the opportunity. I hope the answers of these 10 questions help you already. Now, if you are afraid to get scammed, if you are afraid to make a bad deal, if you are not sure what kind of apartment is good for your profile, I made this online course. It's 5 hours of video in which I'm gonna share all my knowledges about the property market of Thailand, and I'm gonna help you to make sure your investment is successful. I'm not a lawyer, I'm doing business, so in the online course, I'm not gonna describe you the law text for hours. We're gonna talk about very practical tips, about very practical strategies to find a good deal and to make sure you make the most money you can on your investment. As we saw it already, the difference between a bad deal and a good deal is huge. It's very important to buy a good apartment from the beginning. If you buy a bad deal, it's going to be very difficult to increase the profitability. It's not because you paint the apartment or you add a table that you can double the profitability. If you buy a bad deal, the only way to increase the profitability is to sell your bad deal and to buy a new apartment, which is going to be a good deal. So here is the plan of the online course. In the first module, we're going to talk about the law in Thailand, what we can buy, what we cannot buy, and the leasehold scam. In the module 2, we're going to talk about why I choose to buy in Thailand and not in other countries. In the module 3, we're going to talk about is it better to buy in an old building or in a new building. For the same price, you can buy, for example, 23 square meter in a new building or 50 square meter in an old building. What is better? So it depends on your profile. We're going to talk about that. In the module 4, we're going to talk about each criteria for your apartment. We have more than 10 criteria. So do you want a swimming pool, gym room, security, price per square meter, location, etc., etc., etc. I give you my opinion on each criteria, and at the end of this module, you're gonna know exactly what is the kind of apartment that you want. In the module 5, I'm gonna explain you my strategy to find buildings which have apartments which match your criteria. In the next module, we're gonna analyze deeply each building to confirm your choice or not. There is a very specific strategy that you can apply, very specific question that you can ask to know better each building. At the end of this module, you're gonna know exactly in which building you are okay to buy an apartment. In the module 7, we're gonna prospect to find apartment for sale in the buildings that you have identified already. So of course, we're gonna prospect via the agencies on internet, but also with other channels to find sales which are not public, because most of the time they are better deals. In the module 8, we're gonna talk about a strategy for you to be able to take a decision in 1 hour if you want to buy an apartment or not. If you need 1 week to take your decision, you cannot buy a good deal, because the good deal, so for example 20% below the market price, the good deal are always sold out in 1 day or maximum 2 days. So if you need 1 week to think about it, then you are not able to buy it. And I know, because it happened to me, I lost about 3 good deals. So you're gonna tell me, yes, but I cannot spend 5 years, 10 years of saving just by thinking 1 hour. And yes, you are right. It's an important decision, so we need to think about it carefully. I'm gonna explain you a real story which happened to me, and then you're gonna understand that it's possible to take a decision in 1 hour. So imagine, you visit one apartment, and everything is good, the apartment is very cheap, and there is no problem in the apartment. You calculate your profitability and it's good, but you don't know the market very well, so you need time to take your decision. So the next day you visit other apartments, and the next day other one, and you visit maybe 15 more apartments in 1 week. All the other apartments, they are not very good and they are more expensive than the first one. So after 1 week, you're okay to buy the apartment for this price. So you call the agency, hey, I want to buy this apartment, but the agency tell you, hey, I'm sorry, it's sold already. It was sold out the first day that you visited it. So of course you are very sad about that, you missed one good opportunity. So you continue to visit more and more apartments in the next months, etc. You don't find much good apartment. And after 6 months, you visit one apartment in the same building as the apartment that you missed. So it's the same building, same kind of apartment, same size, etc. and the same price. So of course, this time you can take your decision in 1 hour, because you know already the building, you know this kind of apartment. So you see, there is strategy that you can use to take your decision very quickly, and then you will not miss an opportunity. In the module number 9, we're gonna talk about how to visit an apartment, how to negotiate an apartment, and why we should not always negotiate. Most of the time, if you negotiate an apartment and the seller accepts to decrease the price, it means it wasn't a good deal. I think about 80% of my apartment, I don't negotiate them because it's already so much below the market. In the module 10, we're gonna talk about the administrative to buy your apartment at the land office. How does it work? What kind of document do you need? How to pay your apartment, etc. Of course, you can use Wise to pay the apartment, but we have also other tips. We're gonna talk also about how to save on the lawyer fees. Only by saving on the lawyer fees, you're gonna refund this online course. In the module 11, we're gonna talk about the taxes to buy or sell an apartment in Thailand. In the module 12, we're gonna see the 3 ways to rent out your apartment. In the module 14, we're gonna talk about is it allowed to do daily rental, so Airbnb. So the answer is yes, it's allowed, but on very specific conditions. On the next module, we're gonna talk about the taxes on the rental income. And in the last module, we're gonna talk about how to sell your apartment. Because if you buy an apartment one day, you're gonna sell it another day. And then we have bonus module. So the first one is the scam in Thailand. So I was scammed 3 times in my life here. Fortunately, it was not big scam, but I lost a bit of money and a lot of time. So I will explain you how to do to don't get scammed yourself. The next bonus is about the renovation, how to renovate, the cost, and until which point you should renovate. It's not the same thing if you spend, for example, $2,000 in the renovation, so you do just a little renovation, or you spend $5,000 or $10,000. At the end, you will not have the same profitability. So we're going to talk about that. And the last bonus is about getting a loan in Thailand. So is it possible or not? The answer is yes, it's possible, but under very specific conditions. The goal of this online course is that it doesn't cost you anything, since only saving on the lawyer fees will already refund the course. But especially, as we saw it already, the difference between buying a bad deal and a good deal is huge. It can be more than $10,000 or even more after 10 years, 20 years. I hope you learned new things in this video. I wish you the best for your investment in Thailand and see you next time.